Morning guys, Wednesday the 19th of August. Very still. I was just thinking, I had a lot going on over the last sort of week or so, well, a couple of weeks really, various pieces of work and other stuff, and for the last few months I'd made contact with another company, and we'd explored opportunities for them to actually use my coaching services. But for one reason or another, the process had taken a lot longer than what I thought it was going to, especially with lockdown and so on. So it was only literally really a couple of weeks ago that they were starting to then say, oh, we can do X, Y and Z, and that included webinar to promote stuff. But they wanted to do it on a completely new platform they didn't know, and then I had a call with them to sort of have a look at this platform, and to cut a long story short, because I've had a few things sort of going on, talked a few times now about changes and so on over the last week or so. I just every time I thought about this process, it just all felt very heady, very cumbersome. It felt like it wasn't an easy process, and the webinar originally was supposed to be Thursday, and to be fair, I hadn't heard anything from them either. But generally, I think because of a lot going on, I probably would have been a bit more proactive. But I'd almost left it as well, thinking, well, we'll see if they come back to me. Anyway, so by the beginning of the week, I had called one of my contacts to do with this organisation and said, look, I'm going to be really honest with you at the moment about how I feel about all this and other stuff that was going on, and the overwhelm really. And she said, oh, to be honest, the campaign for the various things, including the webinar, hadn't really, promoted as well as what they thought. So they had a few people, but she was very sort of, listen, we'll leave it to you. We've already thought, if you don't want to do that Thursday and want to do it some other time, not a problem. And then I talked to her about, this other platform and so on, which she really was generally in agreement with me. And so, but she was really sort of very, what's the word I'm looking for? So we get on really well. Mum, well. She was also very trusting. And what I mean by that is, I've only got to know her a few times, but she obviously feels like she knows me quite well. Come on. So she basically turned around and said, look man, really trust your judgment. We really want you on board. Really believe in you, believe in what you're about. Gets a good feel from me and my ability and skill and so on. So she was just so sort of, yeah, it's all good. Trust you, we want you. So we'll just go with what works for you, and if things need to slow down a little bit, or we need to do things slightly differently, that's all good. And it really did. In fact, I felt a little bit emotional at one point when she said all this, because especially when she was saying, we trust in you, believe in you, you're obviously really great at what you do, and that felt really quite, I felt a bit touched and moved by it, that to hear somebody saying they believed in me, considering, I don't feel they've known me that long. That sort of acknowledgement, if you like. And I've always said, I think acknowledgement is absolutely fundamental. It's vital for a person's self-esteem, their confidence, to enable them to just feel good and believe in themselves. And actually, I don't think it's not rocket science. It doesn't take much at all. It could be just a real small thing. I mean, she said a number of things, but literally a thank you, or I respect you for the time you put in. I really, value the trust that you've shown. I really respect your honesty or your integrity, whatever it is. Don't think it takes much, and yet we're often I think human beings generally are quite poor at acknowledging others. Often we might think things in our mind, but for lots of reasons then don't necessarily say it to another person. May feel a little bit embarrassed, or feel that it's a bit like, that bit ego-like, bigging somebody else up, or sense of sometimes even down to, if I, say positive things, or some people are so not used to having that they'll almost question, or what do they want? What they're trying to get? What's in it for them? What's going on? Why they're being so nice? So I just think that whole piece around acknowledgement, acknowledging another person, and I was talking about there acknowledging somebody for what it takes. So somebody says, for example, or say with exams at the moment, I'm proud you got an A in your results. In terms of acknowledgement, it's probably more powerful to say, I really love the way you put so much effort and energy into that. I really admire the determination or the persistence or the focus it took from you. So you're really acknowledging more the qualities and the traits, the skills that it's taken. So it becomes more about what you see in the other person, as opposed to, I'm really proud you got an A. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it doesn't necessarily show, doesn't highlight the qualities that you really are acknowledging another person for what it took them to get what they got, what they've achieved. So I think there are also ways that you can acknowledge more effectively. Don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, any acknowledgement's better than no acknowledgement. But I am saying, if you really want to take that a step further, then digging a bit deeper to, really consider what it is you're really saying that you respect, like, acknowledge, admire, love about things in another person. You can just be, can be more than, can be a bit deeper than, if you like. In actual fact, what then happened as well was the other contact. So I spoke to this particular woman, but the main woman who runs this company, she actually said, look, I'll give you 10 minutes to me, and I'll just quickly take you through. There's a booking system that I do. They did need me to be able to get on and understand, and so I did that, and actually that was fine. It took a little bit of getting my head around a couple of things I don't really know. Took a bit of time to try and access it, but actually in the end, that was all good. So it ended up being that became much more manageable. And I think because, as I said, I, was also quite honest about what I was feeling and thinking about it all. Actually, it was fine, She sort of, the other woman I've got the contact with, the marketing one, we knew where we stood. She was able to ease my concerns, and yeah, we were able to come to a point where that was okay and move forward with it. So I think sometimes in our own heads, I think we can we can almost, and I understand, we get it, we all do it, I get it, I understand why, but I think we can make things seem bigger than, more than, make something into more of a worry than what it maybe is. And even though it can, sometimes you want to avoid having to address something, if and when you do, I do find that, and this is my experience really, that 9 times out of 10, it does help, it can enable relationships, it can enable honesty, you can know where you stand. If you share something like that and, somebody else or a number of people turn around and say, okay, well, I don't think that works for us, or, they take a step back, well, actually, although that might be a bit difficult or challenging to accept, to be fair, that's also, in a lot of ways, that's actually okay, because at least then you know where you stand, and you can begin to, accept what that means, adapt, move on in some other way, give your time and energy somewhere else. Well, I think Willow's seen lots of squirrels this morning. I think the damp air and the rain, but it's still been quite close actually, quite warm, seems to have brought them out quite a bit. Willow, come on. Yay! Whee! Oh, lovely, she's got some spit on her back. Come on, Will, going this way. Another treat, another squirrel. Nope. She's definitely seen something. And you will. Like, come down. So guys, have a great wowsy, I say windy, I'm not sure you really want windy. Well, windy in the sense of a breeze, shall I say. Wondering Wednesday, and I shall speak to you later. Take care, bye.